Let me ask you something that might surprise you right away. What if I told you that one of the most hyped anti-inflammatory superfoods people swear by doesn't actually work the way most people think it does, and that even doctors who've lived nearly a century and treated thousands of patients say you're missing a critical piece if you're only using it alone? Today we're talking about flaxseed, something many of you already take every single day, sprinkle on oatmeal, blend into smoothies, or swallow in capsule form, believing it's quietly calming inflammation inside your body, protecting your heart, your joints, your gut, your brain. But here's the truth most health influencers never explain. Flaxseed by itself is not enough. And according to one of Japan's oldest practicing doctors, if you don't add one specific thing, you're barely unlocking a fraction of its real power. Stick with me, because by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why inflammation keeps lingering in your body, even though you're doing everything right, and how a simple adjustment can completely change the way flaxseed works for you. Now, before we go any further, let's slow down and talk honestly. Inflammation is not some abstract medical term. You feel it every day. It shows up as stiff knees in the morning, aching shoulders, brain fog, constant fatigue, stubborn belly fat, digestive discomfort, skin issues, and that overall sense that your body is older than it should be. Chronic inflammation is the silent background noise behind heart disease, diabetes, arthritis, autoimmune issues, and even accelerated aging. And this is why people reach for flaxseed in the first place, because it's natural, affordable, plant-based, and backed by research showing it contains omega-3s, lignans, and fiber that support the body. But here's the part nobody explains clearly enough. Flaxseed is not a magic bullet. It doesn't kill inflammation on its own in the way people assume. And the reason why comes down to how your body actually absorbs and uses what's inside that tiny seed. One of the reasons Japan has the highest number of centenarians in the world isn't because of one miracle food. It's because of how foods are combined, prepared, and supported by lifestyle habits that allow nutrients to actually do their job. This elderly Japanese doctor who spent decades observing patients didn't dismiss flaxseed. In fact, he respected it, but he warned that people in the modern world isolate foods, expecting them to work alone while the body works in systems. Flaxseed contains ALA, a plant-based omega-3, but here's the uncomfortable truth. Your body converts only a very small percentage of ALA into the active anti-inflammatory forms EPA and DHA. For some people, that conversion rate is less than 5%. So even though you're eating flaxseed faithfully, inflammation continues quietly in the background. This is where most people get frustrated. They think, I'm eating clean, I'm using superfoods. Why do my joints still hurt? Why am I still bloated? Why am I still tired? It's not because flaxseed is useless, it's because it needs help. And the doctor emphasized something incredibly simple that modern wellness culture often ignores. Inflammation doesn't calm down unless your body has the right environment to process fats properly, regulate oxidative stress, and support the gut at the same time. Without that, flaxseed stays underpowered. Let's talk about the gut for a moment, because this is where everything begins. Flaxseed is rich in fiber and lignans, which are transformed by gut bacteria into active compounds. If your gut is inflamed, imbalanced, or damaged, those lignans don't convert efficiently. That means one of flaxseed's biggest benefits never fully activates, and this is where the missing piece comes in. The Japanese doctor emphasized pairing flaxseed with something that supports fat metabolism, gut health, and cellular antioxidant defense simultaneously. Something traditional, something simple, something many people overlook because it's not trendy enough. That missing piece is healthy fat combined with polyphenols. In traditional Japanese diets, flaxseed-like seeds were never consumed in isolation. They were eaten with foods that improved absorption and reduced oxidative stress. When you add the right fat source, flaxseed's omega-3s become more bioavailable. When you add antioxidant-rich compounds, you prevent those delicate fats from oxidizing inside the body, which can actually worsen inflammation if you're not careful. This is something rarely discussed. Omega-3s are powerful, but they're fragile. Without protection, they can do more harm than good. Now think about how most people consume flaxseed today. They throw it into a sugary smoothie. They bake it into processed bars. They sprinkle it on refined carbs. That context matters. Inflammation doesn't exist in isolation, and neither does nutrition. The Japanese doctor pointed out that inflammation is not just about what you add, but what you pair and what you remove. When flaxseed is combined with anti-inflammatory fats and protective antioxidants, it stops being just fiber and starts becoming a signaling tool for your cells. One of the most powerful additions, according to traditional practices, is something incredibly accessible. It supports bile flow, improves fat digestion, stabilizes blood sugar, and reduces oxidative damage. When combined with flaxseed, it helps omega-3s actually reach your cells instead of being wasted or poorly converted. This addition also feeds beneficial gut bacteria, which then activate flaxseed's lignans more efficiently. Suddenly, inflammation starts to quiet down, not because of one miracle, but because the system is finally working together. This is why some people swear flaxseed changed their life, while others feel absolutely nothing. Same seed, different context, different outcome. The doctor often explained that Western nutrition isolates nutrients the way pharmaceuticals isolate compounds, but the human body doesn't respond the same way. You don't suppress inflammation, you resolve it. And resolution requires cooperation between the gut, liver, and immune system. Let's talk about the liver for a moment, because inflammation cannot end if your liver is overloaded. Flaxseed increases bile demand because of its fat and fiber content. If bile flow is sluggish, toxins recirculate, hormones become imbalanced, and inflammation stays high. This is why pairing flaxseed with compounds that support liver detoxification makes such a dramatic difference. Traditional Japanese medicine focused heavily on supporting bile and liver function before expecting any anti-inflammatory result from food. Another reason flaxseed alone often disappoints people is dosage without preparation. Whole flaxseed passes through your body almost untouched. Ground flaxseed oxidizes quickly if stored incorrectly. Flax oil oxidizes even faster. The doctor warned that oxidized fats are inflammatory no matter how healthy they are on paper. This is why combining flaxseed with stabilizing antioxidants is critical. It's not optional, it's protective. You might be wondering why inflammation feels so stubborn, especially as you get older. Aging naturally reduces enzyme efficiency. Your ability to convert plant omega-3s declines. Your gut barrier becomes more permeable. Your liver works harder. So the older you are, the more important food combinations become. Simply adding flaxseed at age 60 does not work the same way it does at 20. The doctor's entire philosophy was built around adapting nutrition to aging physiology, not fighting it. This is also where lifestyle quietly amplifies or sabotages everything. Chronic stress raises cortisol, which directly blocks anti-inflammatory pathways. Poor sleep increases inflammatory cytokines. Dehydration thickens bile. Even perfect nutrition cannot override those signals. The doctor often said that inflammation is information. It's your body telling you something is out of alignment. Flaxseed can help deliver the message, but it can't rewrite the system by itself. What's fascinating is that in Japan, inflammation is rarely treated as an enemy to be crushed. It's treated as a signal to restore balance. That's a radically different mindset. Instead of asking, what pill kills inflammation? The question becomes, what combination allows the body to calm itself? That shift alone changes outcomes. When you combine flaxseed with the right supporting elements, something subtle but powerful happens. Joint stiffness eases, digestion becomes smoother, brain fog lifts, skin tone improves, not overnight, not dramatically, but steadily. And that's how real healing looks: quiet, consistent, sustainable. The doctor emphasized that anything that works too fast usually comes with a cost. Real anti-inflammatory healing works like a dimmer switch, not an on-off button. Another point rarely discussed is blood sugar. Inflammation and insulin resistance are deeply connected. Flaxseed helps slow glucose absorption, but if eaten alone or with refined carbs, the benefit is blunted. Pairing it with stabilizing nutrients keeps insulin spikes lower, which directly reduces inflammatory signaling. This is why some people notice less swelling and fewer cravings when they adjust how they consume flaxseed rather than increasing the amount. There's also a hormonal angle here that deserves attention. Chronic inflammation disrupts estrogen and testosterone balance. Flaxseed contains lignans that can help modulate estrogen, but only when the gut can process them properly. Otherwise, those lignans simply pass through. Supporting gut bacteria is not optional. It's the activation step. The Japanese doctor viewed the microbiome as the conductor of the orchestra. Without it, even the best instruments sound chaotic. What I love about this approach is how grounded it is. No hype, no extremes, just understanding how the body actually works. Instead of adding 10 supplements, you optimize one simple food by respecting its biology. That's real wisdom. That's what decades of clinical observation teaches you. Trends come and go, but physiology doesn't care about trends. If you're someone who's tried turmeric, ginger, omega-3 capsules, flaxseed, and still feels inflamed, this perspective matters. It's not that those things failed you. It's that they were never given the environment to succeed. Healing is cooperative. It's relational. Foods talk to each other inside your body. And here's something else that hit me hard when I first learned this. Many people unknowingly create inflammation by constantly switching protocols. 1 week flaxseed, next week keto, next week fasting. The body never adapts. The Japanese doctor believed consistency was more anti-inflammatory than any single food. When you give your body predictable inputs, it stops overreacting. Inflammation is expensive for the body. It uses energy, nutrients, and hormones. When the body senses instability, it stays defensive. When it senses support, it relaxes. That relaxation is where healing happens. Flaxseed, when paired correctly, sends a signal of safety rather than stress. It's also worth mentioning that inflammation isn't always bad. Acute inflammation heals wounds and fights infections. The problem is chronic inflammation that never shuts off. The goal is not suppression, it's resolution. And resolution happens when the root causes are addressed, not when symptoms are silenced. One of the most powerful lessons from this doctor's teachings is patience. In a world obsessed with instant results, inflammation teaches humility. The body needs time to unwind years of stress, poor sleep, processed food, and emotional strain. Flaxseed is a tool, not a miracle. But when you use it wisely, with respect for context, it becomes far more effective than most people realize. If you've been disappointed by flaxseed in the past, I want you to rethink it, not abandon it. The problem was never the seed. The problem was expecting it to work alone. When you give it what it needs, it stops whispering and starts speaking. And that's really the heart of this message. Ancient medical wisdom isn't about rejecting modern science. It's about understanding patterns that science is only now beginning to explain. Food synergy, gut-immune communication, oxidative balance. These aren't mystical ideas. They're biological realities. So as you move forward, don't ask, what's the next superfood? Ask, what does this food need to work? That single question can change your health trajectory more than any supplement ever could. I want to talk about something that so many people completely overlook when it comes to health and inflammation. And it's actually simpler than most of the extreme protocols you see online. It's about consistency in the way you combine foods, especially when you're trying to use something like flaxseed. A lot of people think that the solution to inflammation is just to take bigger doses, or add every trendy supplement under the sun. They assume that if a little flaxseed is good, then a lot must be better. But the truth is that high doses alone won't get you the results you're looking for. In fact, taking flaxseed in huge amounts without paying attention to how it's paired with other foods can sometimes backfire. The body doesn't respond to single nutrients in isolation the way marketing campaigns make us think. Your physiology is much smarter than that. The body works as a system, and inflammation isn't something that can just be silenced by a single food or a single nutrient. It requires a holistic, consistent approach that respects the way your digestion, liver, gut, hormones, and cells all interact. Let's start by thinking about consistency. Consistency is not just a word, it's a lifestyle principle that influences every part of your health. If you sprinkle flaxseed into your smoothie once a week or take a capsule here and there, your body never really adapts and you never really get the benefits. The nutrients in flaxseed, particularly the omega-3 fatty acids and lignans, need to be consistently available so your body can use them efficiently. When you consume them sporadically, your gut microbiome doesn't have the opportunity to process the lignans into their active forms. Your liver doesn't have the rhythm to support bile flow and fat metabolism, and your cells don't get the steady supply of anti-inflammatory compounds they need. On the other hand, when you consistently include flaxseed in your diet, even in moderate amounts, you're training your body to recognize it as a regular signal. The gut bacteria start to process it better. The liver adapts to handle the increased fiber and fat content, and over time, inflammation begins to quiet down. But here's the key. Consistency alone is not enough if the flaxseed isn't paired with the right supporting foods. You see, foods don't work in isolation. The modern diet teaches us to isolate nutrients and assume that each one works like a magic bullet. But the human body doesn't operate that way. The fats in flaxseed, for example, are delicate and can oxidize if not consumed with protective antioxidants. The fiber and lignans in flaxseed need to be broken down by healthy gut bacteria to have their anti-inflammatory effect. And your liver needs support to process the additional fiber and fats efficiently. If any one of these pieces is missing, the flaxseed simply passes through your body without providing the full benefits. This is why the Japanese doctor emphasized not just the food itself, but how it's consumed in combination with other ingredients that support absorption, reduce oxidative stress, and optimize gut function. Let's talk a bit more about food combinations because this is where most people make mistakes. People sprinkle flaxseed over sugary cereal, mix it into a refined carb smoothie, or bake it into a dessert. While these methods may seem convenient, they actually reduce the effectiveness of flaxseed. Sugar, refined carbs, and processed oils increase inflammation and counteract the very benefits you're hoping to gain. Instead, flaxseed should be combined with foods that enhance its absorption and amplify its anti-inflammatory properties. Healthy fats, for example, are essential because flaxseed's omega-3s are fat-soluble. Consuming them with avocado, nuts, seeds, or extra virgin olive oil allows the body to absorb the fatty acids efficiently. Antioxidant-rich foods like berries, leafy greens, and certain spices protect those fatty acids from oxidation, ensuring that they don't turn into inflammatory compounds. Even simple practices like adding flaxseed to a bowl of oatmeal with chia seeds and a handful of walnuts can create a synergistic effect that's far more powerful than consuming large amounts of flaxseed alone. Another aspect that people often overlook is timing and digestive readiness. Flaxseed contains fiber that supports bowel health, but if your digestive system isn't balanced, the fiber can sometimes cause bloating, gas, or discomfort. This is another reason why food combinations matter. Pairing flaxseed with prebiotic-rich foods, fermented foods, or even a little bit of healthy fat can make digestion smoother and ensure that the beneficial compounds are fully absorbed. Consistency here is also critical. Over time, your gut bacteria adapt and the lignans are converted into their active forms more efficiently, which amplifies their anti-inflammatory effects. The difference between consuming flaxseed sporadically and consistently is not just a matter of habit. It's a matter of cellular signaling and biochemical adaptation. Your body literally learns to use the nutrients more efficiently when it sees them regularly and in the right context. We also need to consider how chronic stress and lifestyle habits interact with flaxseed consumption. Even if you're perfectly consistent and pairing it correctly, if your sleep is poor, your stress is high, and your overall diet is unbalanced, the anti-inflammatory benefits will be blunted. The Japanese doctor observed that inflammation is systemic, meaning it's influenced by multiple factors beyond just what you eat. Food combinations can only do so much if your body is constantly under hormonal stress or your liver is overloaded with toxins from processed foods, alcohol, or environmental exposures. That's why a truly effective strategy is one that pairs consistent consumption of nutrient-rich foods with supportive lifestyle habits. It's not glamorous, it's not immediate, but it works more reliably than any fad or extreme approach. What's fascinating about consistency and proper food combinations is that they also teach patience and mindfulness in your approach to health. When you start paying attention to how you combine flaxseed with other foods, how often you consume it, and how your body responds, you develop a deeper understanding of your own physiology. You notice patterns, how your digestion feels in the morning versus the evening, how your energy levels respond to meals, and even how your skin or joints react over weeks and months. This awareness is crucial because inflammation is not just a physical process, it's a signal system. The body communicates through subtle cues, and consistent, properly combined nutrition allows those signals to be heard and resolved rather than masked or ignored. Another critical point is the concept of synergy. Flaxseed is a tool, and its effectiveness multiplies when it's combined with complementary nutrients and foods. You don't need to take massive doses or rely on supplements to achieve results. Instead, by creating the right combinations, you can unlock benefits that are far greater than the sum of their parts. This approach respects the body's natural systems and avoids overloading it with isolated compounds that may not be used efficiently. It's about working with the body rather than forcing it. In many ways, this principle applies not just to flaxseed, but to nutrition as a whole. Foods were never meant to be consumed in isolation. They evolved to be part of patterns and meals that support digestion, absorption, and cellular function. Consistency also helps build resilience in your digestive and metabolic systems. By regularly providing your body with the nutrients it needs in the right context, you create a rhythm that supports enzyme production, bile flow, and gut microbial diversity. Over time, this rhythm strengthens your body's ability to regulate inflammation naturally. In contrast, sporadic or high-dose consumption can overwhelm the system, causing digestive discomfort or even counterproductive inflammatory responses. The key takeaway is that regular, moderate, and thoughtfully paired intake is far more effective than occasional extremes. Another overlooked benefit of consistency is that it reduces the cognitive load of health management. When you have a routine that incorporates flaxseed properly, along with other synergistic foods, you're not constantly debating which supplement to try next, which trendy diet to follow, or which protocol will give instant results. You create a sustainable pattern that your body adapts to. This is especially important for older adults or those with chronic inflammation because the body responds better to predictable, supportive inputs than to constant fluctuations or experimental extremes. Flaxseed becomes part of a lifestyle rather than a desperate attempt to fix a problem overnight. It's also worth mentioning that proper food combinations can enhance not just absorption, but also the functional effect of flaxseed. The anti-inflammatory compounds in flaxseed interact with other nutrients to modulate oxidative stress, improve circulation, support liver detoxification, and stabilize blood sugar. When combined with polyphenol-rich foods, healthy fats, and fiber from other sources, flaxseed's omega-3s are protected from oxidation and effectively delivered to your cells. Over weeks and months, these small, consistent actions translate into measurable improvements in energy, digestion, skin health, joint mobility, and mental clarity. The effect may be subtle at first, but over time it compounds, which is why consistency is more important than mega doses taken sporadically. And let's not forget the psychological component. When you establish a consistent, mindful approach to consuming flaxseed and other synergistic foods, you reinforce your commitment to your own health. This consistency builds confidence and reduces frustration that often comes from trying every new fad without seeing results. Over time, you trust the process and your body, and that trust alone can reduce stress-induced inflammation. Remember, the body doesn't separate physical health from emotional or psychological states. Everything is connected, and consistent patterns create stability across all systems. Another point is that consistent consumption allows for better monitoring and adjustment. If you're taking high doses sporadically, it's difficult to know what's working and what isn't. But when you consume moderate amounts consistently paired with complementary foods, you can observe trends over time, notice improvements, and tweak your combinations as needed. This process teaches you to listen to your body and make informed choices rather than relying on guesswork or hype. Flaxseed becomes a tool for learning and adaptation, not just a supplement to blindly consume. Consistency and proper combinations also protect against potential downsides of flaxseed. For instance, flaxseed contains phytoestrogens that are beneficial in the right context, but excessive doses without balancing other nutrients or supporting gut health can have unintended effects. By consuming it consistently in moderate, properly combined amounts, you maintain balance and allow the body to utilize the phytoestrogens appropriately. The synergy between flaxseed, healthy fats, antioxidants, and fiber ensures that the compounds are effective, safe, and supportive rather than overwhelming or counterproductive. Finally, let's consider longevity. The Japanese doctor emphasized that the people who live the longest and healthiest lives are those who practice consistency and moderation in all aspects of life, including nutrition. Extreme doses, sporadic interventions, and isolated nutrients do not create long-term resilience. The body thrives on rhythm, predictability, and thoughtful combinations. Flaxseed, when consumed this way, becomes more than a superfood. It becomes a functional part of a lifestyle that supports cellular health, hormonal balance, digestion, and systemic inflammation control. By respecting the principle of consistency and focusing on proper food combinations, you create a foundation for sustainable health that lasts far longer than any quick fix approach ever could. And you empower yourself to take control of inflammation in a natural, effective, and enduring way. So as you move forward, don't ask, what's the next superfood? Ask, what does this food need to work? That single question can change your health trajectory more than any supplement ever could.